It's Bruins Benders post game live, and it's brought to you on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel. Subscribe now to the Inside the Rink YouTube channel to get all of our content all season long, our episodes, and our live post game recaps like this one here. Follow us on all the social medias at Bruins Benders. It's Maddie and Smitty, and the Bruins get a win in the beginning of the Joe Sacco era with a 1-0 win over the Utah Hockey Club, a game in which they showed a hell of a lot more energy than they have the last 6 weeks, probably, and played with a lot of gumption. Still offensively challenged, but at least the effort was there. Physicality was there. They did seem to play a little bit more cohesively together. They got the good goaltending, and this is kind of the makeup of how they have to win games anyway. And it was a good sign, at least for a start here with Sacco.
It was a good sign, and I thought there were a lot of good signs in this game. I thought the defensive details were much better. Their stick positions, you saw them deflect a lot of pucks tonight. Hasn't been the case recently. They were much more physical. Obviously, Kastelik with a couple of fights with Bertuzzo. He had great effort all night long, was nasty all night long. And they get a power play goal, which was huge, I think, for the confidence of the team, for the confidence of the power play, and especially for the confidence of Elias Lindholm, who hadn't scored in 17 games. So, those are all positives. I thought they were pretty good breaking the puck out for the most part. Carried the play, didn't give up a lot of shots. Shots were 30 whatever to 20-ish.
Yep.
So
Korpisalo made 21 saves. Yeah.
So and a shutout. I mean, that's what they need to do. Defensive details, limiting opponents, working hard. They won so many more puck battles.
Right.
Lowry was winning puck battles. Pastrnak was winning puck battles. That you hadn't seen in a while. So it was nice to see. I thought Pasta looked engaged tonight. He didn't, score. He had the goal waved off there at the end, but a much better effort all around from the entire group, for sure.
Yeah, and so here's my question: why?
Yeah, why?
Why tonight? Where was it? What's the problem? This is what I don't understand. And they speak, the players speak glowingly. We talked about on the episode that went out today. Speak glowingly of Jim Montgomery. Sure. Feel like they let him down. Said all those types of things. But why wasn't this here? I give you an idea what I think it is. Basically, Joe Sacco probably said tonight, shoot the puck whenever you want to, first of all. And I think that they shot the puck a lot, and I think that Montgomery didn't believe in that. And I don't think they loved the style of play that they needed to play, to play under him.
I think that's probably part of it. I think he probably wanted them to simplify. I think he wanted them to get away from maybe, the possess the puck down low, hold it, look to make a play. I think it was more like, look, when you get the puck to the net and then get bodies to the net, or get it back to the point and get bodies to the net. I think he probably tried to simplify it for the players. And I think when you can play simple and you don't have to think out there, then you play freer and faster. And I think that certainly helped them. They looked like they had more speed. Their dump-ins had more purpose tonight. They had guys in on the forecheck hard when the puck, was getting retrieved by the defenseman. Is that just that they had their skating legs? Maybe. But it seemed like they had more purpose with their dump-ins. They had more, they valued the puck more. They didn't just, free, willy-nilly passes into the slot, other than Merkulov. And Zacha had like a behind-the-back pass, too, that went to nowhere at one point. Right. But I thought Zacha was really good tonight. Made a lot of good plays to set people up, and they just, they couldn't capitalize. But, overall, I thought they played a simpler game, which is what they need with the talent level on the roster.
Yeah, and I think that that's the part of the issue was just the style of play, how the management went with a different type of player and tried to change the makeup of the team a little bit. Didn't line up with Montgomery, and Montgomery seemed to be stubborn with it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it was. I mean, if Sacco can go in and just sort of bare bones, and here's the other thing: the penalty kill tonight I thought was much better. Like, it just seemed like they were more active, like you said about the sticks.
Yeah.
More active, clearing the puck, more sense of urgency when they did receive the puck in the penalty kill, just more a purpose. I mean, it just seemed like more like we've seen the last couple of years with their penalty kill being good.
Yeah.
Share has been so bad. And tonight it was much more like it used to be.
Yeah, I think it's effort. I mean, it's effort. I mean, still Zadorov a few times just with, a couple of boneheaded plays, but
Well, Zadorov though, your spare parts, aren't you, bud? Yeah, it's like,
I mean,
that's your Athletic Kenny right there.
that's that's
Yeah, that's what he is.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you come to expect from him is not great play. He did, light some people up. That's
what he does.
Yeah. So
he lights people up.
And he can rush the puck on occasion. He doesn't like to pass at all in the offensive zone. He's a me shoot guy, which I guess you would like that if it was Charlie McAvoy.
I tell you, he acts like Al Iafredi out there,
but not
all of a sudden he's firing the puck from LA.
Not necessarily Nikita Zadorov. Yeah, he's not exactly Nick Lidstrom back there.
No.
So I mean, like you said, baby steps, step in the right direction. All that's good. But we've had wins where we felt good about it before. So now it's what have you done for me lately? What happens in the next game? That's really where it matters now. Can you string this kind of effort together? Can you do this twice in a row? That's really what it comes down to now. Can you consistently produce this kind of effort again and again and again? That's what they need to win. And we thought they've had galvanizing wins before.
Yes.
So, was this, a bump because of the new coach and then we revert back to the same old bullshit? Sorry, John. We'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Well, now they go on the road.
But it's something to feel good about anyway. I don't want to rain on the parade because it is something to feel good about. This looked more like Bruins hockey to me.
Sure. And it just like Sacco said after the game, it was a really good effort. They really dug in. And I just wonder, why they weren't digging in for all that time and would say the right things, but couldn't get themselves out of it. And, maybe it just took a new voice and a new outlook. And I don't know. I don't know what the motivation is to completely change the way you respond. I just don't know. But, it happened. And I think this was a good sign. And look, this team can still make the playoffs for sure.
Sure.
Like they of course they can. Like they're still a talented group and they can make the playoffs, and they haven't dug themselves such a hole that they're really digging out of it. Like they're right, like Charlie McAvoy said recently, they're right there in a position in 62 games, now 61 games to go, like plenty of time. And they can do it. So but Korpisalo is a good development. He has really played pretty well. And just as people said they might, the Bruins have seemed to correct some of his technique, and he's playing much better. And he's a very capable backup now, which is great because Swayman hasn't been great. So, I'm all for throwing him in there again Saturday. Like I'm all for.
Oh yeah.
Like just, what? And it would say a lot about Sacco to say, what? We're going to go Korpisalo Saturday too.
I would.
And see, I would. I
100% would. I told you before, I think Swayman needs like a mental health break. He needs like a week, 10 days, just like they gave Korpisalo earlier in the season when he was struggling a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. No. Get to work with goalie Bob. Figure out what your issues have been, whether it's angles or rebounds or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Figure it out, get it right, and then come back refreshed and ready to go, and he'll be fine. He'll be fine. So yeah, I would give Korpisalo the net Saturday and the next game.
Sure.
And as long as he continues to play well, ride him for
give him a good run.
4. Sure.
Yeah. And maybe it shows Swayman that, you know what, you need to have a little more sense of urgency. It's not your net specifically, even though you make a ton of money. And you know what, we're going to go with a hot guy, just like we used to. We're going to go with a hot guy, and I'm all for it too. And I think it's a little bit of a reality check for Swayman.
Sure, I think
it could go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, competition before seemed to bring out the best in them when they were, splitting the net. You had to play well, or the other guy was going to take the net away from you.
Yeah.
So I don't have any problem with him getting a little competition, especially after signing a big contract. I think he probably could use it. He probably could use a little kick in the ass to say, hey, hold on there 1 second. Right. You know, this isn't a given that you're just going to be the guy. You have to play well. You have to earn it.
Right.
And I think that should trickle down the rest of the lineup too. I liked some of the switches that Sacco made. They put Zadorov back on the third pair where I think he belongs.
Sure.
I thought Lowry had his best game in a long time, even though he, coughed it up there once. But best game in a long time from him. So, I liked some of the defensive switches they made. I liked Wotherspoon and Carlo together. So, some minor changes there that maybe have, the Bruins maybe have found a lineup, and we'll see. I think Sacco will probably stick with it.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm Sacco, I stick with it.
Sure you do.
Because that's one of the downfalls of Montgomery, and one of the things that the players kept mentioning was the switching of the lines. Sure. So Sacco makes a complete 180 if he just stays with it. Like, that's an easy little way for him to make a big change, is just to stick with the lines.
I haven't changed lines a lot this year. I haven't.
Way out was reminding us that he doesn't change lines often.
Yeah.
But I think that's a move that, again, the goaltender and the line changing were two kind of big deals there, and I think that he can make a statement, Sacco, by sticking with the lines. And even though you only scored 1 goal on the power play, you could still stick with the lines because they played well, they played cohesively, and it doesn't. They still had a bunch. They had over 30 shots on net.
Yeah. Did you hear that at one point, I think during the broadcast, they said they had 17 shots on the power play?
17 shots?
On the power play alone.
The Bruins did?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Well, I'll tell you what, the power play was much better, obviously.
It was.
That's a great indication.
Yeah.
But I'll say this about the power play. When it goes bad, and Brick even mentioned it quickly tonight, they just can't settle themselves down. It's like hot potato. It's like pass it, pass it, pass it, pass it, pass it. Like, it's just like just settle it for a second. Catch it, wait, let them sag off you, and just set it up. And a lot of times they're just like pass. Let's try to make a play. Let's try to and Jesus, like, sometimes it's just too much anxiety, I think, on the power play. Not a plan. No plan. And the power
I mean, I think overall they didn't try to force pucks on the power play tonight, which I think was a big reason that they were successful. Their entries were better. They tried a new entry and it worked for them 2 or 3 times, where they got the puck down the wall, and instead of trying to pivot, reverse, and come back up the boards and get it, they rimmed it to a forward who was waiting low on the other side.
Yes, low.
They were able to gain possession that way, and it worked for them a few times. So, that might be another little new wrinkle there with the entry, and then not forcing it. I think Zacha had one force where he kind of it was kind of like he was in the middle of passing it, and he realized he was fucking up, and then it was just kind of a flub. But overall, it was much cleaner, much. They had a bunch of great opportunities, and I think if they keep playing like that on the power play with the talent they have, they'll be fine because Melka made some great saves too. I mean,
He
passed
played
out
extremely well.
that looked like it could have beat him, like 6-hole. And McAvoy ran a post. I mean, they had some good chances. Cross crease stuff too, where just missed on those. So it looked like they were a little more. They used the bumper more too.
They did. Yep.
Which helped them on the goal. So it just seemed like they were a little more cohesive overall. They weren't as stationary. I thought they weren't as predictable. So you put that all together and you have a power play that has 17 shots.
Right. And Mark Kastelik tonight, 2 fights.
Yeah. He's a
real chippy, like real angry, like just kind of a bastard out there.
Yeah.
And which is what they need, what they want. They need more of that.
Yes, they do.
Tonight, I mean, he took Bortuzzo right here and just dusted him.
Yeah, and he got an extra 2 for roughing because he was still throwing him while he was lying on the ground.
Right.
He thought Bortuzzo threw a little elbow up high there. He wasn't happy.
He
about
wasn't
that.
pleased.
No, and he was ready to drop him again towards the end of the game there. And there was a little bit of at the end.
He punched a defenseman in the face.
Yeah, he was John with somebody, and he was ready to go again. And Freddie, it sounded like, was John a little bit too. So if we get Fighting Freddie back, if we get Freddie Fight Club back, I think that'll help them as well if they don't trade Freddie.
And this is gonna bother me. This whole like all of a sudden we're fighting, all of a sudden we're playing hard. All of a sudden, I just don't get it. So I just honestly believe, as we've thought, that Montgomery's attitude changed, and they felt it. And they felt like the coach kind of was giving up on them a bit. I think they felt that. I did, because I could see it in my living room, like on the bench. Like I could see some of the body language stuff. I could hear his comments. Like it seemed like he had exasperation, he had disappointment, and you could tell that he was just kind of, I don't know about giving up, but it really looked like it was somber. And I feel like the team felt that.
Absolutely, they did. I mean, you could see it from the first 10 games to the second 10 games. The Bruins in the first 10 games started slow and weren't playing great, but it wasn't like a just complete malaise, lack of effort, like, Montgomery with his hands in his pocket. Like they just started out not great. Right. But the second 10 games were just dreadful. It was just like a totally different attitude by everyone. And I think you're right. I think it had a lot to do with Montgomery's kind of body language and that he seemed like he had kind of given up on them. Just, no kind of fight, no kind of fire, nothing really at all. And just changing the lines at will. It just turned the whole thing disjointed. And I think the players didn't want to come to the rink. I mean, it was just it's a somber attitude. Like it's like a funeral. Like who wants to be there all the time? Like you want to have fun playing hockey. You don't want to think like it's a funeral parlor.
No, the whole thing was a bad idea because the management didn't give him a roster that fits his style, and then didn't give him a contract. So they made him a lame duck. All they had to do was fire the guy in the offseason. And hire a new guy, or even give it a Sacco to start, or whatever. I don't care, whatever. But they needed to fire the guy because they weren't going to get an extension with him. Sweeney says that they were going to extend him and made him an offer. He didn't take it. I'm sure it was a low ball offer.
Sure it was. Yeah,
I'm sure it was down by the in the annals of. I mean, I'm sure it was nothing. And then he was probably disrespected by that. Sure. So if Sweeney says we gave him an offer, he didn't take it, then that means it was low, and that means Montgomery says you really don't want me, and now I'm disappointed, now I'm disrespected, and then hence you get the attitude that Montgomery has had. So I think that's part of it, and then it rubs off on the team. Elias Lindholm, really nice to see him score, and you talk about sticks. his stick is so good defensively.
Oh yeah.
Like he steals pucks from people like almost effortlessly for a guy that's not that big. Like he just has a knack for picking your pocket.
Yeah, he
Like,
was
it's crazy.
really good body position wise too. Is
Yeah.
another thing. And so Marchand says after the game, guys like Kastelik, you never truly understand how valuable they are.
Uh-huh.
They have the ability to change the course of a game with a shift. And you know, Marchand's usually the guy that has to drag the team into the fight. I thought tonight that was Mark Kastelik. He was ready to go from the opening drop of the puck, just everywhere, all over the ice, banging bodies, fighting, you know, creating havoc, getting in scrums, mixing it up. And hopefully that will rub off on a guy like Frederick. I thought Frederick had his legs moving tonight. You know, not many offensive chances, but I thought he was involved physically. And if he's not going to score, they need that from him. You know, if he's not going to score all the time, which he's not because he's a third line guy, they need him to affect the game in other ways. Like you're a big dude, you fight people, you can hit, you can chirp people, like get involved in the game. If you're not going to score goals, be involved in the game somehow.
Right.
And Kastelik shows that. You know, like Marchand said, you can change a shift just by a big hit or momentum, you know, and change the momentum with a big hit or a big fight like that. So, you know, hopefully that's a lesson to Frederick to, you know, kind of up that part of his game.
Yeah, he had 3 hits, and he, like you said, he was chirping a little bit and seemed to be more into the game. And then Kastelik had 4 hits. He had the 2 fights. Kepke had a couple of hits. Geeky had a couple of hits. Like they were definitely playing more, you know, more physically for sure. Zacha actually played 20-27 tonight, the most of any forward tonight. And you mentioned he played, you know, really well.
He did.
Brandon Carlo with 4 block shots. One of them was kind of an odd one. It hit him in a bad spot. It was kind of a flip wrist shot from a distance and
Inside
still fell. Just
bro.
Inside, no padding, like just in the right spot.
That hurts like hell.
And Jesus does it. Yeah. But he toughed it out, got right back on the ice shortly after. And I thought that Carlo was much better. And hopefully we're going to start to see like the getting in a rhythm Carlo that makes him a pretty solid player. You know, Andrew Peak had 3 block shots. I think Peak is fairly steady.
He is steady.
He really is. I mean, there's not a lot of games where I'm like, Jesus, Peak killed him tonight. Like I don't do that much. Like he doesn't do a ton, you know, that jump off the page, but he's fairly steady guy.
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 shots, he had 3 blocks, he had a takeaway and a giveaway.
Yeah.
You know, 19 shifts, almost 17 minutes. I mean, that's
pretty good.
That's fine.
That's great
for a third pair guy. That's
oh my goodness, yes.
Fine.
Yeah.
All night we'll take that. All night.
That's all you need. Yeah. All right, let's get into the fan comments. Jason Mashuli. He listened to the episode today.
Yeah.
Where we talked about our start bench cut segment on our episodes and Thanksgiving side dishes. Start bench cut. I'll let you go first. Mashed potatoes, stuffing, sweet potato casserole.
Oh fuck. I mean, I love one. Yeah, I mean, I love the hell out of all those things.
Yeah.
All right. I'm starting stuffing. I'm benching mashed potatoes and I'm cutting sweet potato casserole. I mean, it's killing.
Yeah.
It's killing me, but I'm a huge stuffing guy. I could just sit down with a bowl of stuffing and nothing else and just eat that all day.
Eat the whole thing all day. Yeah. I you don't have to give me turkey. I don't even know why they have turkey as an option. Like I don't eat any of it. Like I eat all the other sides.
Yeah,
like
give me all the sides. Give me all the sides. Just throw a full stick of butter in that stuffing and then just let me fucking get after it.
I'm going the same. I'm going stuffing start. I'm gonna bench the potatoes and I'm gonna cut the sweet potato casserole. I'll tell you what, mashed potatoes with a little secret ingredient of sour cream in there.
Oh yeah.
And oh my goodness, I mean, lots of butter and And I mean, a good mashed potato, good whipped mashed potato is just dynamite. It's an old fave, and
Well, I mean,
stuffing is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I love stuffing. I love mashed potatoes too. And I actually love sweet potato casserole.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a tough bench because I could eat that shit all day as well.
Yeah.
Like I'll load up on all those things on Thanksgiving.
Right, you're gonna cut it. Like
I'm not in real life. That's not getting cut. I'm eating the hell out of that.
Right.
But for the purposes of this game, we got to cut something. So
do you have a sneaky dish, like beyond that, like a sneaky dish at Thanksgiving that you like?
We make a spicy green bean.
Okay.
Not a green bean casserole. I'm not a huge fan of green bean casserole, but it's like a spicy green bean, has like a little soy sauce in it, a little crushed red pepper, a little garlic.
Okay.
I love that. But look, I'll eat almost everything at Thanksgiving. Like
sure. Yeah.
I mean, turkey, all the sides. I'll eat, like, if there's 5 different kinds of pie, I'll have a piece of all of them. Like I love desserts. I'm a sweets guy. I love all of it. All of it. Yeah. Fill it up.
Yeah. Mine's creamed onions. I love creamed onions. Those little pearl onions and the cream sauce.
Yeah. You get out
alive. Those. All right. Dan Maynard says, just on yesterday's chirp too, Swayman possible trade. I really hope after everything that happened that they make a smart move and actually put some thought into it. We can't fuck this up again. Yeah. I mean, the trading, we're going to see now what happens. I mean, if they run off 5-6 in a row, maybe that sort of gets put to the side for a bit.
Yeah, I don't think they'll trade somebody. If they
I don't think they're going to trade someone big. If it's anybody, it's like Frederick or Geeky or someone like that, just because they think they can't sign them or won't sign them again.
Yeah.
But other than that, the big 4 or 5 aren't going anywhere. I will say this though. If it goes south, I'm going to say it right now. It's possible that Brad Marchand goes to like a Pittsburgh or a Colorado. It's possible.
Yeah. It's sure.
It's not impossible. I'm telling you right now.
No,
right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
It could happen.
I would agree with you.
Liam Perkins, how about one for Kastelik tonight? Let's get some positive vibes going here. You bet, Liam. That was really wanted, and he's been doing it. I mean, that fourth line's been good for most of the year. Started out white hot, and Kastelik, came out white hot offensively. That's kind of flattened out, but he brings that vibe. He brings that physicality. He brings a little bit of nasty. He's willing to do it, and that's been a good pickup for them. And at less than $1 million, that's a bargain. That's a bargain.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Let's see what else we got here. Amazing how the most surprising and controversial trade to Ottawa has 2 of the more consistent Bs as of late in most of the first 21. I'll tell you, that's a good point, T-Boss, is that
yes,
it's Kastelik and Korpisalo who are kind of, your steady, consistent players. And that's from that trade,
It is.
Sweeney is a Zen master. Is Sweens a Zen master? Would you call him a Zen master?
No. No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Sweens is at the Harvard Coop on the weekends.
Yeah, sure.
That's what he does.
He's at the Harvard.
Goes to Fire and Ice.
Him and Charlie Jacobs, his old roommate.
Yeah. Him and Charlie Jacobs go to Fire and Ice in Harvard Square.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. Sneaky good stir fry. I'd eat it all night.
Infused vodka.
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah, right.
Drink like this.
Infused some sort of pomegranate drink or something. Right? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
he's too easy.
Pomegranate martinis. He's a Harvard guy. He's not drinking beers.
No, for Christ's sake, no. He's drinking those old fashioned you were having last night.
That's bourbon. That's a man's drink. He doesn't. He's
got hair on his chest.
Yeah.
Big win, says Gus. Yes,
it was a big win, Gus.
It's a big win. Right now, all the wins are big.
Yeah.
And you take it. and I think the effort was there. It got a little dicey in the third.
It did.
Ottawa's going to make a push, but it's the NHL. The other team's going to make a push, and you've got to stem the tide. Korpisalo made some big saves when he had to. The post was his friend a couple times, and look, you take the win. I mean, they got the win.
The thing about it that I think is the most positive is they played the right way. As Brick would say, they played that was Bruins hockey. Like if you watch that, you're like, okay, that's the Bruins. And the last few games leading up to this were not the Bruins. That's not how we've grown up watching the Bruins play. That's not them. That's not their identity. And tonight was more in line with how they should play and how they'll have to play going forward.
Yeah, it's for sure. And we have a poll out there right now if you want to jump in the poll that our producer Connor has put together tonight. Are the Bruins fixed? And
that's a quick one.
Yeah, are the Bruins fixed? And Tangredi. The power play still needs some work, and that's true, Ann. It does. It needs some finishing work. It still needs some work. I thought there was some good signs though tonight. Merkulov was out there the first unit for a bit. They gave him a taste. They dropped him back down the second unit, and I think that the puck, just puck decision making was better. And they got more pucks to the net. I mean, Jesus, like I don't understand the philosophy of quality over quantity. It doesn't make any sense. Never up, never in. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like never up, never in. Like Michael Scott. Like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. All that stuff. Like why? I don't understand that philosophy. I don't. It just doesn't lend to scoring many goals.
No,
I just don't understand.
I don't. Because I feel like I think it lends itself to pressure on the shooter, honestly, if you come right down to it. So you work all this time for one shot for a great chance. And so this guy's thinking now, I got to bury this. This is our one great chance, So it's a little more extra pressure on the guy to put it in the right spot. And he probably shanks it wide, throws it off the high glass, and the other team comes down 2-on-1 and scores. I mean, it's just, I feel like if it's quantity over quality, you could shoot a puck, it could hit off the defenseman's skate and go in. Lord knows that happens to the fucking Bruins all the time.
Sure.
So just get pucks to the net, get it to the paint. I mean, they had the goal was a Pastrnak, fake 1T shot pass to the front of the net. Puck in the paint. Lindholm digs it out of the paint and scores on, essentially what was a rebound.
Yes. Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. Do that.
Do that.
Yeah, just do that. Fire it at the net. Just get some traffic there. Like, I don't understand. I don't. But Savoir Cross says, and this is a good point, he'd still trade a player just to let the players know it wasn't all on Monty. That's a good point. Like, to make a trade and say, okay, we do mean business. If we don't think you're 100% in, if we don't think you want to be here, if you're not fitting what we're doing, we'll trade you. And maybe that is a good point.
I think it's a great point by Savoir.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to have some accountability. They need to still know that, if you don't play up to the level we expect from you, either you're going to get traded, you're going to get benched, or you're going to get waived or sent down or something. There has to be some kind of consequences if you don't play well.
Yeah.
For anyone. I don't care who it is. Yeah. For anyone.
Yeah, of course.
So yes, if they don't play well, they 100% should be looking to move somebody, and it should be somebody on an expiring contract, I think, because you probably aren't going to re-sign them anyway. So see if you can get an asset back in return.
100%.
I think that's just smart general managing. Now, talking about a Harvard guy here who should be smart, should
Harvard.
be.
Yes, should be. Booksmart, maybe. Booksmart. Stephen Bentley says he would start Corpy on Saturday as well. So he agrees with you. And I think that would be a stabby little move by Joe, by Medford Joe. Can we call him Medford Joe? I want to call him Medford Joe. Okay. We're calling him Medford Joe.
Medford Joe.
Corpy, the new starter, says Trav, ride the hot hand. I think we agree. Maddie, I think it was Sweeney saying that if performance doesn't improve, players will be shipped out. He did say that.
Yeah.
He did say that.
He did.
But what does that mean? Like, how much improvement do you need to see before you don't make a move? Like, he's not exactly the risk taker. He's not exactly a danger seeker. So,
no.
T-Boz wants to give Smitty props on his statement on the recent podcast. Every aspect of the offseason and preseason was gaffed by the brass. Not one aspect of the season so far has been successful. So, kudos to Smitty on that analysis.
Yeah, thank you.
Anal-isis. Some might say. Let's see. It is not Sacco. It could be Forrest Gump on the bench. These guys had to jump. They did. I mean, they had no choice now. Can't come out and lay another egg because then it is on you guys. So I guess that's the big motivator right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the motivation probably is Sweeney saying, we're going to trade some people if the performance doesn't improve. So they already got the coach canned. So one of them is next. And I think they're probably feeling a little guilty about the whole thing. That the effort wasn't theirs, and guilt, as they say, is a pretty good motivator. So
sure is.
We'll see though if this continues. Can they keep this up? We've been through this before, where they've won a game, and you're like, all right,
okay, here we go.
You can build off of that one. Can they build off of this one? I'd like to see the defensive intensity and details and all that stuff remain. And then I'd like to see a little more finish, obviously.
Sure. Beth says stop throwing lines together and hope they play well. And that's a good point, Beth. And I think that we are really anticipating Sacco and hoping that he just rolls the same lines out Saturday and tries to gain some continuity there. So that is a good point. Lloyd John Embry says, good job, Corpy. It will make Swayman look bad, and he must work harder. And I think that's a good motivator for Swayman. And as Smitty said, it's a little bit of a mental break for Swayman. He's used to playing every other game. So you get yourself mentally prepared for that game. You're not playing the next one. He did that for like 2 years. So that's a thing. I mean, now playing 60, 65 games, you can't take that time to recover mentally. Like you let in a soft one here or there, you got to go right back at it the next game. So that's a different mindset, and he's not used to that. So
I mean, that might just be that he, it's an adjustment for him, that whole kind of situation there, kind of becoming the number one guy and having to deal with that mental adversity and so forth. So hopefully he gets a little break and he's fine.
The sip tonight for T-Boss. This is becoming a nightly thing on the post game. It's Willett Family Estate Rye, 107.8 proof.
Holy fuck!
Get the casket ready.
Jesus, T-Boss.
Smooth as Corpy's glove tonight.
Oh yeah.
All
right. Love to hear it.
$4,000. Let's see.
Attaboy. Get after it.
Interesting that Sweeney for somehow said that contract offers are made to Monty early in the season or leading up to the opener. Why would he say no? And it's a good point. Savoy Cross. It's a good point. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. And I want someone to try to get to the bottom of that. Like, what was the offer? What, was it that Monty started to see the philosophy shift and think, I don't really want to coach this way? And do you think Monty was like, you know what? I'm going to reach for the stars and ask for and not take the offer and try to get. I'm either going to get paid or I'm not going to coach here anymore.
It could be that. It could be him, being slightly inexperienced, coming off as, I mean, what was his record? It was ridiculous. his regular season record. So maybe he's looking at that and saying, I should be paid like one of the highest paid coaches in the league. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I'm the Bruins, I wouldn't pay him like that.
No.
But maybe that's what he was asking for. I don't know. And maybe that's why, his ask was too high. But we won't know until, somebody can get to the bottom of that.
Sure.
But for whatever reason, they weren't sold on him. And it certainly appeared towards the end that he wasn't sold on them either. And the way they wanted to play. And I don't think he loved the roster. So, I think at the end of the day, it probably wasn't a great fit, really, moving forward. So
sure. I think that's
probably for the best for both sides.
For both sides. Jason says, a very frustrating win. They really put up an effort, but only one goal. They need to fix the shot placement problem. I mean, that's the ultimate issue with the team is offensively. How can they generate enough offense to beat good teams? They still haven't beaten a good team. So let's temper this by saying that good teams have smacked them. So they need to go play a good team. Vancouver's coming up soon. Winnipeg's coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like those probably will be the barometers, like what this team can really do when they're playing some of the better teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean, Winnipeg, that for sure is going to be a measuring stick game. I mean, they're the best team in the league, right? They're 15-2 or something.
Yeah, 16-3. Yeah.
16-3.
Yeah.
So, that's certainly going to be a test. And they don't give up goals. They score goals.
Right.
So that's going to be, you're going to have to be tight checking and play well defensively and, kick one in. So, yeah, let's see. Let's see how they stack up against a team like that. That's, probably the front runner for the cup in the Western Conference right now.
Sure. Adrian says, as you did, is it me or do you think Sacco may have been more thoughtful about the lines in the PK and power play? And we think he was.
Yeah.
Like maybe he was seeing the jumbles under Montgomery. And I'm telling you, Adrian, I think that's the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Like the first thing you can do is just gain some continuity and say, okay, guys, we're just sticking with these lines. You guys good with these lines? Good. We're going to do it for 10 games. This is what we're going to do.
It's an easy fix.
That's an easy fix and an easy way to get you into their good graces.
And I think it I think it relaxes the team probably too. And as a coach that's taking over a group with a million things going on, I think if you leave the lines alone, that's one less thing to worry about.
Sure.
It's like, we're just going to go with these guys. We're going to fix the specialty teams, but these are our lines 5-on-5. This is what we're sticking with for right now. And roll with it. And we'll take care of the other areas where we really need to focus, like special teams.
Yeah. T-Boz says you can stick with the lines all you want, but it's still an incomplete roster and cannot compete with 60% of the league. And I think that's what we're going to see. Sweeney still feels it's an incomplete roster, obviously. He said that in the beginning and nothing's changed. So it is. It's just a matter of what he does it'll be interesting to see what he tries to do to improve it. Like if he really believes the team can make a run, then he might. But if he doesn't believe they can make a run, I don't think he makes a real big move.
No, it's going to be a
complimentary piece and all that thing.
Complimentary piece and an extra D. That's what they do. Yeah. That's their MO at the trade deadline.
I mean, typically extra D is, good for some, but
sure.
They are who we thought they were, says David Ilsley. And that is correct. 500 offensively challenged, but a hard-working bunch.
Yeah.
Adrian's got the Wild Turkey 101 rye here.
All right.
Yeah.
So Adrian's getting after it too. Good for you.
Yeah, getting right after it on a Thursday night. Thirsty Thursday, I believe, is what they call it.
Yeah.
Oz, what could Swayman get you? You probably do not. You probably do want an impact player, immediate impact player, something more coming your way. Top 6 forward plus prospect pick. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know, though. I don't know. What do you think he would get you? It's really say what a goalie would get you.
I mean, Allmark got you a first, a solid fourth liner, and a backup goalie.
Yeah.
As
a Vezina winner.
Swayman's had a rough start to the year. So does his value dip, or do people look at his playoff last year and say, well, there's a guy we could, potentially is the missing piece for us.
Mm-hmm.
So, all it takes is one. If you have one, moron out there who would give you, 2 firsts and a second, then you can get it. I don't know if there is another general manager out there like that. I'd like to think there is, but probably not. So,
yeah, probably not.
I mean, I think you're probably looking at a similar return to what you got for Allmark. Probably a first, maybe a mid first instead of a late first, possibly. And then, a depth forward, and, if you're not going to get a backup goalie, maybe you'll get a lower round pick. So maybe it's like a first and a third or fourth and a third or a fourth line guy.
Yeah. Freddie and a third rounder from Monahan is an offer by T-Boz.
Freddie and a third from Monahan. I would do that.
I would do that trade. I like Monahan.
And
I liked him back when he was making $3 million a year for 1 year as a real bargain guy. Like, I liked him as a better option than Lindholm, to be honest with you, because he was more of an offensive center and he was cheap. And I like the guy. So yes, I mean, I'd do that, especially if you don't think Freddie's going to sign here. Why not?
Yeah,
I would do that. Taz says something still doesn't look good with Marchand when he shoots the puck. Yeah, Marchand and shooting the puck has been an issue, and I don't know if it's he had an elbow thing.
Yeah, I mean, he
I
did.
don't know if it's just not strong enough now, and he still needs some. I mean, he hadn't worked out into mid-August.
Yeah,
so maybe it's just a strength thing with his elbow.
Yeah, maybe there's like the torque on the shot is causing elbow pain or some kind of flare up or something. He's turned into much more of a passer in the last couple of years than a shooter, anyways.
And I wonder if that's because it hurts like hell.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, maybe he just got into that mode because it did hurt, and now that it's fixed, he still hasn't kind of broken that bad habit. And hopefully he'll get back to shooting the puck, because that off-foot snapshot that he has is deadly.
Yeah, no question. It's that off-foot snapper is money.
Sure is.
Adrian's husband has a Southern family, makes dressing instead of stuffing, and does not make mashed potatoes. And she married this guy.
What?
Wow. Like, our first Thanksgiving was distressing. You think? Like, I might have walked out.
Yeah.
And I've been divorced twice, so I'm easily divorced. Like, let's be honest. Like, I'm easy to go that route. Like, so mashed potatoes would get me there.
So all right, Adrian has to help me out here. What's the difference between dressing and stuffing? Because I've heard dressing is just like the stuffing, but it's inside the turkey. People have said that that's what that is. And then some people say stuffing is, the just dressing, but not inside the turkey. So I don't know. What's the difference between those two things? I don't know what
dressing and tell me what dressing and stuffing, what that is. I mean, it might not be in the turkey.
But it does not make mashed potatoes part. You have to, throw your chair on the ground, like tip your chair over and walk, take your wild turkey and walk out.
Yeah, I flip my
right out of there
in the air. Yeah, I fire my fork. Yeah, I yell things. I'm like Smitty after a 7-2 loss to Dallas. I'm F-bombing everybody in the place.
Yeah. Is there pie though? Southerners can make some pie.
Is there pie, Adrian? What kind of pie they got there?
Yeah.
Beth says, need to build the power play, get us out of being for the worst in the league. I mean, that would be a good start, is to get out of the cellar in the power play. They get one tonight, so it's a good start, right?
Yep.
Let's see. Dan Maynard, I missed most of the game. Who's the best line tonight?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought they all played pretty well. I really did.
Yeah.
I thought they all played pretty well.
I thought it was a good continuity, and they just rolled the lines and.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Zacha was really good tonight. I thought Pastrnak looked engaged, so I would say that line was good. I thought Marchand and Lindholm and Brazeau played pretty well. I thought they were good. And the fourth line was good. Merkulov, Frederick Coyle. I mean, they had some moments. I'd say of the four lines, that was probably the least positive.
Sure.
Top two lines I thought were both good, so that's a good sign. And then the fourth line was the fourth line, and bringing it all night. So
yeah. Right.
Catholic was excellent tonight. So
he was.
I would say, kind of a group effort tonight.
Yeah. Wow. Adrian says yes. Dressing is very wet stuffing with eggs, and often hush puppies or cornbread, and baked in a casserole dish. So it's a wet stuffing with eggs. So it's almost like a breakfast thing.
like a casserole.
Yeah, like a breakfast casserole.
All right. So I mean,
what's a hush puppy?
Look, hush puppy's like it's like fried like cornbread, I think.
Is it? Okay.
They're delicious.
Are they? Okay.
Hush puppies are fantastic.
Okay.
The dressing, I'd probably eat the hell out of that too. I could probably get behind that.
I mean, I probably would. I mean, I'd have a couple of wild turkeys.
I'm still offended by the no mashed potatoes. She should have just walked right out of there.
I mean, that's you need to make a stand, and I mean, I think you should revisit it.
I think here's what you do. Finish the bottle of wild turkey and then crack it over someone's head and walk out.
Right. You know what? Make some mashed potatoes and bring it to Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I'm having some of this.
Just eat it by yourself in a huge bowl.
A huge bowl of mashed potatoes. Gus says Carolina needs a goalie. Swayman for Sebastian Aho. I would drive Jeremy Swayman to Carolina, to Raleigh.
Yeah.
And park my car and take Sebastian Aho with me on the way out. I would do that in a second. Carolina would not.
No, they would not.
They would not do that. But Sebastian Aho, yes, that's exactly.
I would do it for Svechnikov too. I would do that.
Sure.
In a second.
Yep, I do either one of those guys. I do it for. I might do it for Natchez too.
Yeah, I mean, they're
good.
He's playing out of his tits right now.
Yeah. Rob says, so our whole plan is dumping the guy we spent an entire offseason negotiating with, riding Corpy, and picking up offense. Yes, Rob. And it sounds ridiculous because it is. And it really would make them look like complete assholes, not just the semi-assholes they are now.
Yeah.
Absolutely would be ironic.
Major assholes.
Yes, major assholes, sir.
Major assholes?
Surrounded by assholes. Crazy. Chris Wood, Marshy also changed his stick length this year. Okay. Could be causing shooting issues on top of surgeries. Wonder why he did
that. He always used to play with a super long stick, so maybe that was injury related, or maybe he's feeling like he's not stick handling as well as he has been previously. So maybe that's the reason. I think it would probably be feel for the puck would be my guess. But I don't know. That's a good question though. I don't know why you would change up at this point in your career. I'd feel like naked out there with a different length stick all of a sudden.
Yeah. Melanie on the side here texted me and said that deep fried cornbread is hush puppies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Holy.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
That sounds delicious.
I had them when I was down in South Carolina.
You did?
I mean, I could. Talk about something you could just eat all day long.
Yeah,
I could eat those.
I could eat that all day long.
Yeah, all day long. Sit me down at a bar with just a big pile of hush puppies and some beers and call it a day.
So, dressing wet dressing just doesn't do it for me. Like even the sounds of it, I don't know.
So here, do you like stuffing inside the bird stuffing? Because that's wet.
Inside the bird.
That's wet.
Right.
Do you like that?
Right.
Do you
Yeah,
like
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm an inside the bird stuffing guy. I like that better than outside the bird.
Right.
Because you get
I like
juices
it. I like it inside because it gives you more flavor.
Yeah, the turkey juice can go right in there.
Yeah.
Go right in there.
Rob says stuffing is trash.
As long as your turkey's cooked and not raw, then you're good.
Yeah.
Who said stuffing is trash?
Rob Spector says that stuffing is trash, and you're only fucking up the bird putting that mass inside the turkey. Well, you say it that way. Now I'm not going to eat stuffing ever again.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Rob. I could eat stuffing all day long.
All day.
Inside the turkey, outside the turkey.
All day. There's sufficient pie, Adrian said. So that's good. Sway to Montreal for Nick Suzuki, says T-Buzz. I don't know if that's happening. I'm not going to trade Swayman to the Montreal Canadiens. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
But yeah, tonight it was about the Bruins responding, which they had to. And, you just wonder about the Montgomery thing and why it just never got any better and it just kept getting worse and why that is. Like, how would you come out and respond like this? I mean, if they just played like this, they would have won 3 or 4 more games. Like, if they just played like this, stuffing is inside the bird, Rob says. That's why it is called fucking stuffing.
I love it.
Yes, Rob. That's a valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuffing with gravy, says Beth. Yes. All day and
all
night
load
long.
up the gravy.
All day and all night. Yeah. Just like the Bruins tonight.
I'm
1-0.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm going to go eat some stuff. Stuffing is better inside the bird, but the turkey is way worse because of the thermodynamics of the mass inside the cavity. Well, that'll do it for the postgame show. Like, thermodynamics. You lost me at thermodynamics.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Of hockey guys.
Who would have thought that thermodynamics would be a word that you would have heard on this podcast at one point or another?
I mean, hey, we're
not from either of us because we're both dumb as a bag of rocks. So
yeah, I mean,
the
post game show
to the head.
You learn things on the post game show here.
You do.
Hey, I'll tell you what, get your start bench cuts in. Like, send us a DM, send us an email at bruinsbenders@gmail.com. Like,
it can be anything.
Send us anything.
Yeah. So on the regular pod, we'll usually do that.
We'll pound those right out.
Yeah.
And hey, 20% off exclusively during the post game live right here. Sorry, John is the code. Go to the Bruins Benders merchandise site and get yourself some merch. And it's only for you fine folks who join us on the post games. That's it. Sorry, John. Is the code. Bruins win tonight 1-0 over the Utah Hockey Club. They go to 9-3 on the season. We'll see you again Saturday night after the game at Detroit Rock City. Until then, as always, go Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.